All right, so this is episode 1, I guess, of the Dude Show. Pretty much, we're some funny motherfuckers, so we think. So we're just gonna do a couple episodes, maybe every once a week or something. But yeah, back to what I was saying though. Yeah, today actually, I made up a list of shit that pisses me off that shouldn't. And Dixie, go on.
It's okay. Whatever.
uh, and like the number one thing that came to my mind. I mean, obviously I'm married, so the number one thing that came to my mind, and actually Rich can contest to this. Every day I come home, and I should learn to have stopped by now, but I haven't. I'll come full speed at the front door and expecting to be able to click the little latch, with your thumb and push it right open. Well, what I fail to realize every day is that my wife has a chronic phobia of being mugged. So every time I come full speed at that door, I smack my fucking face trying to come into my own damn house. And then, oh god.
You're like a dog that never learned.
Exactly. Like fucking running full speed ahead at a sliding glass door, pretty much. And and I had a few other things on there, and like you were pointing out here, this is just a list I put together of some potential topics since our first time doing this. But I don't know if any of more than likely our listeners will probably be from the local surrounding area.
100%. For the most part.
Right. So basically, I don't know if you guys are frequent visitors of the Walmart on Frederica Street. Do you go there? Is that your number one go-to?
I've spent more time there than I'd care to admit.
All right. Well, it's the only place open past like 7. So, but no, the one on 54 doesn't do it. It's just the one on Frederica Street, and it pisses me off every time I go in there. I'll have one item. Like say I just bought this fucking T-shirt, right?
Right.
Go up there, check out the person. You make eye contact with the person at the fucking door the whole time. You're like, I know you're gonna check my receipt, so why don't you just watch me check out? And then you don't have anything to question. So I'll just kind of boop, put it in the bag, pay, not make a pit stop to talk to anyone, not fucking tie my shoe. I'll make a beeline for the door, continuing to make eye contact. And they're like, receipt, please.
Like for the T-shirt?
Right. And I'm like, I don't know the repercussions of not providing said receipt to the employee, but I know the last time that they did that to me, me and Lacey were in there together. Lacey's my wife, by the way. We were in there together. We actually had a whole cart full of things, so it's not a really good example. But yeah, she was like, receipt, please. And I pretended she just didn't exist. So I pushed the cart on through to the parking lot, and she said it like 4 times, and my wife finally turned around and showed the receipt because I didn't have it anyway. But I was like, I don't fucking care. Like, I'll go anywhere else that doesn't demand a receipt.
I don't think they can actually stop you at the door. I think they just kind of do that to kind of scare people out of actually shoplifting.
And that might, more the mental factor of, well, if I'm, because I go in there thinking, okay, I bought a shirt, they're going to check my receipt anyway, even though they see me check out. So maybe they probably got a thief problem.
Yeah, and
nonetheless, though, that's not my fault. Let's talk about fucking guns, right?
And
it's not my fault criminals shoot people. I shouldn't have to provide proof I'm not a criminal with my firearm just because somebody else is.
Right, and you've also got like a huge amount of Walmart employees, and they just got to find something for all these people to do.
Well, okay, to a degree, they have a huge amount of stalkers. Cashiers, not so much. I think they might have 3 within the entire Owensboro area. I don't know if they need to put an ad up for that or what. But no, and then the next thing, and these are just my personal grievances. I'm probably in fucking first world problems, but and I've always wanted this too. So we'd be driving down the bypass, right, and going speed limit, set my cruise control,
right,
and I'll see a fucking cop just right on past.
Right.
Okay, no lights on, no nothing. Even if their lights are on, they're supposed to go the speed limit, posted speed limit.
Right.
Correct. So if they do that, can I just pull out behind them and chill?
I mean, if you're feeling ballsy that day, go for it.
I don't see. Okay, see though. I guess that's where a dash cam might be nice, because if they pass me and I pull out behind them and I'm matching their speed, even if it's like, okay, it's 65 on the bypass, right? They're going 75. So I'll pull out, match their 75. What are they going to do? Completely pull over, get behind, or go into the slow lane maybe? But I would stay behind them regardless because matching speed.
I mean,
so these are the questions that I think about.
honestly, I mean, if you're really that concerned about what they're doing, I like to believe that they're going to save someone's life, so I don't want to fuck with them.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the
Well,
time
and
they're
you're not
probably
fucking. You're just fucking matching their speed.
Right.
You're not interfering. You're not brake checking them. You're just riding behind them.
Right. I mean,
So really, you shouldn't get a ticket if the LEO is doing it and you just follow his example.
but there's also a lot of cops, not all, but there are several cops that are just dicks.
That's true.
They're very sour about their job.
There's
and I-
one in particular, bald Davis County Sheriff. I've had several run-ins with. Yeah, he's a real douche. And I'm a huge supporter of law enforcement, but
Oh, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
no. Actually, I've got a good friend of mine who was a Davis County Sheriff as well. He's retired now. Well, not so much retired as pursued other career options, but he when this Davis County Sheriff in question pulled me over. He chewed me out, like, and that's fine. You know, I was a dumb shit. Not necessarily a dumb shit. I was more ignorant. I was in a part of town that I hadn't frequented often, and there was snow on the ground, right? And apparently on the ground, there's a no left-hand turn sign painted on the ground, on the concrete, on the physical concrete, and snow had covered it. So I
Conveniently.
turned left. Right.
Right.
And I turned left right in front of a sheriff. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, so I didn't see why I shouldn't pull out in front of the sheriff. And as I did, he turned on his lights, got behind me. Well, he didn't get behind me. He fucking, because I was turning left and he was coming this way, so we just matched driver windows. And he was like, "You fucking dumbass! You know how many people here are killed every year at this turn?" And I was like, "No, I have no idea. Honestly." I was like, the snow kind of covered the sign back there. He informed me there was a sign. It's like, whatever. So then he did actually formally pull me over. Allegedly, I was in a company vehicle, but and he just came up to my window and gave me probably a 4 or 5 minute cussing. And
Really?
yeah, and it's not so much that I maybe didn't deserve it. It's just the fact that he was supposed to be a community leader.
Yeah.
So
It's probably not the best way to handle that situation on his part.
yeah, but no, then then my buddy, I called him, and he was allegedly an employee of mine at the time, or a coworker of mine, and he told me that that sheriff in particular actually was suspended like not too long ago because he was doing traffic control, right? So he was standing in the road with a stop go,
Right.
working on a scene that somebody had wrecked. Well, he flipped it to stop, and someone went anyway. And as they passed, he was like, "Did you not see this fucking stop sign?" And slammed it in the windshield and broke their fucking windshield.
You would think that there would be some serious repercussions for that.
No, paid suspension, came back after 3 days, I'm sure.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I just got a little vacation.
Could you imagine if you hit somebody's windshield at
Jail.
work?
Jail.
Jail.
Yeah, there'd be, and I'm not even black, so. Fucking thing keeps turning
Oh,
off.
man.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There are a few guys out there that are sour about their jobs, and that's universal throughout the work world. I mean, it's not just police or sheriff, it's firefighters, it's, bank tellers, it's, people who work at Walmart, it's people who work at Target, wherever you go, you're going to
Yeah.
find assholes, whether or not
Walmart,
they're in uniform
door
or
checkers.
not. Door checkers.
Receipt checkers.
Like,
at
come
the
on,
door.
man. If you saw me check out with the shirt, me and you make eye contact
the whole time,
the whole time.
deliberately.
Watch me swipe the card. Watch the receipt get printed into my hand. Do you really gotta stop me?
Oh, I fucking stole something. Oh, definitely swipe something. It just it's fucking dude. It just reminds me. We went to Holiday World a couple weeks ago, and I was with Zach. Which Zach will probably be in here shortly. But it was me, my wife, Zach, and his brother Jaden, and Holiday World now has this thing where before you go up to the ticket area, they actually check your bags. You have to get in line and
Right, I've seen that,
they
yeah.
check your and that's the first time I've experienced with that. But I'm not too often going to Holiday World.
Right.
Anyway, I just thought it was fucking goofy. Like I was watching them do the people in front of me, and like, okay, say you hand me a bag, and I'm the employee, she would just fucking like fumble it like a ball sack for like half a second, and be like, "Yeah, you're good to go." And so
No bomb there.
yeah. So I put my little bag up there, And of course, she just did the fucking half-ass, minimum wage check. And I turned around to Zach and I was like, God damn, I'm so happy she didn't find my gun in there. And she gave me a dirty look, and I was obviously laughing.
Right.
But then when Zach came through, he was right behind me. When she checked his bag, she pulled everything out. Everything. She looked through it all. And I'm a fucking smartass anyway. So to me, knowing that that's why she's doing it just because I made a smart ass comment, but Zach is black. So I went, oh, okay. So we checked the black guy, but not the white guy who just said he had the pistol, right? It just cracked me up so much.
Doesn't surprise me though.
It's ridiculous the point that we're at where we have to fucking check for guns everywhere we go.
When they're perfectly legal in pretty much everywhere except for communist country.
It just doesn't make much sense to me though, because that poor girl wasn't armed. So if I did have bad intentions, I would have walked up, one, probably not caring to conceal the firearm to begin with, but two, if I put my bag there and she had found it, what would she have planned to do? She's a 70-pound little girl.
Yeah.
I'm a 250-pound man.
Like,
I could have just let me go ahead and get that. And furthermore, why wouldn't I have already just got it out and shot her stupid ass and went on into the park? There's no reason. It's just, I guess it's just to get people going, well, they have a check there. Maybe we shouldn't carry.
Yeah, I think it's for legal liabilities. I mean, and I can understand why, but you could also make the
gun
argument
gets
that
flown off a roller coaster.
I mean, think about
God forbid it's the fucking
Sig.
it's a Sig 320
hit the ground,
fucking
kill him.
hammer fires. Fucking.
So maybe there is a good reason to have those minimum wage 13-year-olds checking bags to the front.
I can't believe that. I know. I walked up and I was like, "What is this?" I thought it was just an extension of the ticket line. Oh no. But no, and then I've got a couple more things wrote down here.
A couple.
Yeah, well, these are just kind of political things and hot ticket items, honestly, like we can get into. But the next one, and these are just my personal grievances, as I said before, but okay, so I used to live over on the east end of town off 231 in the Tony Clark apartments back there.
Right.
A decent place to live. Tony Clark's a bastard, but everybody knows that.
It works.
And turning left off of 231 onto, I guess that was Bowie Trail, probably.
Can't remember the exact street.
It's the one with Lee's, Domino's.
Oh, right.
That's
Byers?
No.
Byers is before that.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
Byers
Anyways.
runs up to that road. Fuck ever. It doesn't matter. There's a four-way stop there.
Right.
Anybody who lives in Owensboro knows the four-way stop I'm talking about. Turning left off of 231 onto whatever the fuck that road is, that light, it never goes green for turning traffic, right? So my thing is, and maybe it's just me being dumb, but if it's late at night, right? So like one time I came home at 11:30, 12 o'clock, there was nobody on the fucking road because everybody knows Owensboro rolls up at 9 o'clock at the latest. Nobody on the road, no headlights in sight. And I'm sitting here for at least 3 or 4 minutes. And in reality, it was probably like 45 seconds, but it felt a lot longer.
It always does.
Yeah.
Especially
So
when the
I'm
gas is
sitting here and
burning.
just fucking looking at my mirrors like, all right, I could probably run this motherfucker. No one would know. It would literally not affect anyone's life. So why is that not like a thing? Why, like, okay, why can't all the traffic lights just blink red at a certain time and treat them like a four-way stop? Is that a thing? If it's not, it should be. So like at 10 o'clock, every intersection in Owensboro, or at least, the non-crucial ones, I'm sure Frederick Street probably gets a lot more traffic.
Still.
But the non-essential ones, at least, blink red on all four. It seems like it would make a lot more sense. So I could pull up. Okay, there's nobody. Treat it like a typical four-way stop. Come to a complete stop. Check, make sure I'm clear. Go on about my business.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely feasible in certain areas because it's too much money to keep up with so many different traffic lights that are always malfunctioning, and some of them.
Hell, the one they just put in on Carter Road, turning off the bypass onto Carter. That one's they're over there every day, fucking working on that one.
That one's always messed up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to see how that would play out because Owensboro doesn't have like a huge influx of traffic all the time. Certain times of the year, when there's the festival
Fucking
going
barbecue
on,
fest.
fireworks or the air show or something like that. That's when the most people turn out. So I mean, other than that, I mean, they could definitely do it. I mean, I don't know exactly how the stoplight grid all links up.
Who fucking knows?
I'm
Oh,
sure they
dude. Speaking of which, all right. I need your input on this before I give
All
my
right.
opinion. Just to see. Okay, so what controls the traffic lights? What turns it from red to green? Is there a sensor in the road, in terms of a weight sensor, or is there a metal sensor, or is it on a timer? What's your opinion on that?
There's both actually. There's a box that's connected to some lights that runs on a timer. Some of them are connected to weights in the weight sensors on the ground. It just depends on the
So you're talking
stoplight.
about actual weight sensors.
Some kind of
'cause-
trigger on the ground.
So, yeah, I agree. I know that for a fact most are ran on timers, and I know that some in particular are ran on these copper coils that they stick in below the pavement. And when a certain amount of metal comes over it, apparently it conducts and flips a switch or something.
Right.
That and again, even that runs on a timer. When it senses something, it's like, okay, 10 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But what I hear most often by far from people in this town is that, and I could be completely fucking wrong, all right? So we might have to Google this. But what I hear, and it just doesn't make any sense, is that there's a weight sensor in the road. And that doesn't make any sense to me because there is thousands of pounds of concrete on top of said sensor if there's an actual scale in the road. And not only that, but at what point does it decide, okay, there's enough weight, and how long is this fucking scale? Because if you've ever been to Jaeger Materials or the dump or anywhere with a scale, those motherfuckers are pretty big.
Yeah.
So how long would that? And furthermore, if there is a scale, when a semi pulls up, that should automatically fucking go green,
Yeah.
and it doesn't.
I know that some of them have some sort of triggering system that is either by the ground or some of them have those small. I don't even know what they are. They kind of look like cameras that are on top of the stoplights, and I'm sure that may tie into it as well. But I know that some of them are strictly timers, and they don't do anything but run on a timer because there's really no other point.
Okay, these detectors are buried in or under the roadway. Inductive detector loops, which is the copper coil I was discussing earlier, is the most common type. These are sensors buried in the road to detect the presence of traffic waiting at the light and thus can reduce the time when a green signal is given to an empty road. Okay, so I knew that there were those, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, some of them in very large areas, like very very urban, they have actual cameras on top of each light, and if there's a serious traffic problem, there's actual people that are employed by the city to control traffic in times
Yeah,
of
I
great
mean, you see that in
duress.
Ocean's 11.
Yeah, yeah.
Come flying through on their fucking Mini Coopers.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, I guess I never really put too much thought into it, except when I'm stuck in one.
Well,
for a
this
really
always
long time.
pisses me off when I get into this
It
conversation
pisses everybody off.
because it just doesn't. To me, it does not make sense why they would put a scale in the road.
I mean, a scale might be a little
Inductive loop, right?
inductive loop.
Inductive loop.
That thing,
These
see?
bitches are everywhere in Owensboro, and
Yeah.
I thought. I was terrified of these because I
they were
thought
taking
they're
pictures of
taking
your-
pictures of the license plate running red lights.
I thought they were too at first.
Yeah. Find cameras. Oh, and fun fact about these: used to take. Oh shit, they can be used to take photos of illegal activity. Check these out though, right? So I heard from a firefighter buddy of mine that if you were to pull up to this, because these will detect sirens, flashing lights,
Right,
sirens,
infrared
and change
lights.
green for them.
Yeah.
So that emergency vehicles can come through. So if you're like me, or at least my past truck that had light bars, you could just pull up, flash the light bars a couple times, and it would turn green. And I
Right.
thought that was kind of bullshit, but I tested it, and it fucking works.
I've
So
seen
anybody out there wants a green light on a dark night, you don't want to run it and get a fucking picture taken of you.
hit your brights on there a few times, see if you can't.
What's ridiculous is that we just got these like last year,
Yeah.
and you know these have been out for deep.
Oh yeah, they're nothing new.
This is a timer, fixed time operation, which we don't have a
It's too
physical
fancy.
timer like that.
Too fancy.
Position
Well,
vehicle.
they do have some on
correctly.
crosswalks. They do have those on like
Yeah,
crosswalks.
yeah, and those fucking buttons are bullshit too.
Yeah,
Just give you
beep,
something
beep,
to
beep.
fucking punch.
I always wondered if there was like a pattern you can hit on those to get it
Probably-
to change immediately.
It's probably a dead button. There's like probably no leads or anything that are connected
it
to
probably
it.
just beeps.
Absolutely nothing. Position. Okay, we don't give a fuck. All right. Okay, so anyway, as far as that's concerned,
Well, you could put a magnet on the bottom of your bike. That would be nifty. Too much work for
yeah,
that,
that's
though.
to trigger
Well,
the
you could put on
conductive
like
loop.
a motorcycle or like a moped or something like that. If you drove that, that would be super useful to invest in.
Yeah.
So you're not spending.
Yeah, motorcycles. Well, they're actually allowed to run red lights for that reason.
Oh
'cause-
yeah, that's right. They are because
Yeah.
that puts them in danger when they're at the front of a stoplight
Get
like
fucked
that
up.
too. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, get fucked up. So, did you see that? Did you see that video of the motorcyclist? He was in the HOV lane, which is a carpool lane only,
Right.
and he was fucking flying, like going balls to the
I
wall.
don't think I've seen it now.
Okay, so basically, he's going balls to the wall, and a car merges into the HOV lane. And supposedly, according to the footage, it's kind of either way. He could just be chilling over there. He could just be getting over there because he's a carpooler, or he could be passing the guy who's going too slow in the fast lane, right?
Right.
So there's two options. Either way about it, he gets into the HOV lane. The motorcyclist slams into the ass of this car. And luckily he's fine. He just rides it out on the trunk of this car until the car stops. But you've got two sides to this, right? You've got people like me who never drove a motorcycle and don't give a fuck about motorcycles,
Yeah.
who say that one, if the motorcyclist had not been speeding, he would have been fine. He would have had more time to react and slow down to the vehicle that merged out in front of him.
Right.
Two, if he had not been in the HOV lane going way over the speed limit, again, he would not have been in the situation he was in. And then you've got people on the other side of the aisle who are motorcyclists going, well, we've got special rules. And that's fine if they're allowed to be in the HOV lane, which probably varies per state, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know what state that was taken in, but just being objective. And then they're saying, well, the car, should have judged better. However, I think something's to be said for if you're going with the flow of traffic, just like when you're going 80 miles an hour and you go into a 40-mile-an-hour zone, it feels like you're crawling now. So your mind physically adjusts to the speed to make it normal. So if you look in your mirror and you see a motorcycle, you assume he's at least because you're in the fast lane.
Yeah.
So you assume he's either matching your speed because you're
just a
probably
little bit faster.
already going a little fast,
Yeah.
or he's going a little slower because he's in HOV lanes.
Right.
So in my mind, if I were to look in my mirror and say, okay, there's a motorcyclist there, blinker, come on over. It's not my fault for not knowing that he was going 120 mile an hour.
Yeah, 100%. It's not your fault because that, first of all, going 100 miles an hour in the HOV lane is illegal as hell.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what special rules you have. It's just you can't go that fast
Right.
when everybody else is going slower than you. That's too dangerous. I mean, I get it that motorcyclists might need special treatment when it comes to using those lanes because it can be really dangerous on a freeway when you're on a two-wheeled vehicle. Like, I can totally understand that and allowing them to use it because it doesn't cause any harm. They don't plug up traffic too much. They take a little bit longer to stop, and I understand that. And it keeps they don't have to bob in and out.
Of course, there's about 5,000 of these.
Oh yeah, I mean probably a million motorcycle crash videos on YouTube. You wouldn't even be able to find it, honestly. I mean, but honestly, the fault really lies mostly on the biker, but partly on the guy changing into the lane. Because it takes two to tango. If he would have looked back in his mirror and noticed longer than a split second, because you really got to know what lane you're merging
This
into.
might.
Let's see here. There's no HOV lane in this. I guess technically that is an HOV lane if it's just not marked.
No, this is not the video because the video I'm talking about had a blue car.
Oh no, this guy just ends up sitting on the
it's
trunk
very-
like a lucky son of a gun. Look
Well,
at
this
that
is
dude.
this is a good example because this is exactly what happens in the other video. Except the biker obviously is going way too fast. The car merges from this lane over, and he slams into the ass end and winds up riding on the trunk unharmed, which is good in terms of public safety. But the grievance I had was just that you had the bikers on there wanting to pitch a fit over the car merging into a lane that the car is allowed to be in as long as he has 2+ riders.
Right. So
Um,
it's both their faults because in some situations it's one person's fault, and in another situation it's both. It's mostly the motorcycle rider's fault. I'd say 80% the motorcycle
So
rider.
if you were the police doing the write-up and you had to pick an at-fault driver, who would you say?
legally you have to go with the motorcycle driver because he was going way over the speed
Speeding,
limit.
right.
Yeah, that's going to trump
And
everything.
he's one rider in an HOV lane.
Yeah, so
Um,
whether
Yeah.
or not they got those special rules or not, you've just
Yeah.
gotta go with the breaking the law one on that. You just can't go that fast in traffic going that much slower than you because you're
Yeah.
asking to get into a wreck.
Yeah.
You know, this
Definitely.
isn't the Audubon. You know, you
You
can't.
fucking lock them up and.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. My other point on here is old news, so I'm not even gonna address it. It's just that company in Wisconsin or Michigan that's microchipping their employees. It's a voluntary thing.
Yeah.
You get it between your thumb and your pointer finger. Apparently, the only thing it really matters for is that you can pay at the vending machine with it.
Yeah, and,
And-
you can scan yourself into the building.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to do it, it's just an RFID chip, I think,
Yeah.
with a certain number on it that says, you know, this is this employee.
I mean, honestly, we have badges.
Yeah, and they work
Badge is a
just
lot easier, and it doesn't go in your body. I'm not sure if this chip has been FDA approved.
Probably not.
Probably
Or maybe,
not.
Well, I don't know. They put RFID chips in some dogs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, don't they?
Yeah,
And you can
microchips
have-
between the shoulder blades, but that's also a dog.
Yeah, true. But, you know,
I mean, I don't know what could they be collecting information off that as far as
RFID chips, no. It's
No.
an RFID chip. It doesn't really. It only contains a certain set of information.
if
that
it
they
is
put on
only an
there.
RFID chip.
Yeah, if, but you know,
Yeah.
I mean, if there was more than that,
I'm-
in it, it's
I'm the guy that
pure-
always thinks there's other
pure
motives.
conjecture, man. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
maybe they're collecting information, but
The only thing they could really be collecting is information about your health, like blood pressure, shit like that, maybe, but it's not anywhere near an artery. And then also maybe just motion. But I don't. I mean,
But you'd
just
need more-
fucking
you'd need
whack
more-
off beats per minute. I don't know what
mean-
they'd be collecting. As,
I mean, you might as well just you know, pay the Fitbit company to give you that
Right,
information anyways,
yeah.
because
yeah, or get a fucking Amazon Echo Dot or whatever, fucking funded
can't
by the
measure out
FBI.
sound.
You know, it's not that big of a deal. Hey, fucking Alexa, suck my dick.
yeah.
No, and then these other ones are hot button topics that I think we pretty well agree on, but we both are pretty well able to. Oh, here's one. Okay, so I don't know if I load that up, but all right. So one of the things I feel strongly about, and I've discussed this on Facebook with a couple people who disagreed very strongly.
Okay.
So the thing I have a hard time with is that the government wants to basically say at 18 years old you are an adult, right? At 18 years
Legally.
old, legally you are an adult, right?
Right.
So you are eligible to go to prison for your actions. You are of the right
We can do
mindset.
that pre-18 as well, though.
Yeah, yeah.
In certain cases.
And sorry, yeah, you got to be fucking really dumb, but
Really well,
or
yeah.
really psychotic. Yeah, that's the word.
Close enough, yeah.
So okay, so at 18 years old, they say you're good, right? You're an adult. You can do what you want. You can gamble. You can go
For
to
the most
strip
part,
clubs.
right.
You can do this shit. However, if you want to drink beer, not allowed. If you want to buy a pistol, now rifles and shotguns, totally fucking fine.
Yeah.
We don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right. But if you want to buy a pistol, no, can't do that till you're 21. And if you can in Kentucky, you can open carry at 18. So if my dad or anyone were to purchase a firearm and I bought it from them, like a pistol,
Private sale.
in private sale through private sale, exactly, then I could open carry that legally. As an 18-year-old, I could buy a pistol from Joe Blow and open carry it.
Right.
Now, to me, that seems sketchier than being able to just go to the store and get a background check ran
Right.
and verify I'm not a felon, verify I'm eligible to even own a firearm, rather than just getting it from whoever. And then also, you know, like I said, drinking age. Yeah. So my thing is either we need to bring up the age of adulthood to 21 as far as no taxes till 21, no, you know, no income tax. Cause while you file income tax, when you start working, most of the time you get like all of it back before
Yeah.
you're 18. Right. So when you turn 18, that's really when they start fucking you. But we either need to raise the adulthood age to 21, where you can't gamble till you're 21. You can't join the fucking military till you're 21. If I'm able to physically process, my brain has the power to tell me if I'm ready or not to die for my country, but it's not yet able to tell me if I want to consume alcohol and be drunk for a little bit. No, that comes in 3 more years.
Right.
So we either need to bring that age up of adulthood, or we need to bring the drinking and pistol purchasing age down to 18. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that 18 is a volatile age for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the most crucial parts of your brain don't finish developing until later in
25,
your
right?
20, yeah, 20s, later 20s, just depends on the individual. Some
Yep.
people finish developing earlier than others. I think that in that case, the reasoning behind some things being like the pistol thing, there's a big issue in urban cities with cities with people getting shot, and a lot of those homicides are younger teens from the age of like 16 to 28. You know, like in that time period, you're more likely as
Yeah, I think a study showed 16 to 21 was the most frequent homicides by firearm.
yeah, makes sense. It makes sense because that's you're
You
developing.
got a lot of hormones. You got a lot of anger.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
With that, I mean, the thing about it is, I don't think that you should lower the age, especially with drinking, because if I could drink alcohol when I was 18, I probably would have drank myself into a coma. Because when you get
I don't know.
and it'd be different for everybody.
Yeah.
But me personally,
Yeah.
I think that 21 is a solid age because doesn't matter. Most people are drinking before 21.
Oh, by far.
anyways.
By far.
And it's really just a legality.
Especially in fucking small towns.
And
If you get bored, what are you going to do? You're going to fuck or drink.
yeah, or do
where-
drugs. I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing. And so, I mean, I get
That
why.
solely depends on the crowd you hang out with.
Yeah, I know. I get why they placed it a little bit higher. The military thing, that's an interesting point because it's always brought up and it's always so controversial because you've got people who literally, they give you a fully automatic firearm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking heavy weaponry. Okay. You can be in charge of artillery.
249s,
Yeah. I mean, you're
mortars,
talking serious killing
AT4s.
devices. Okay. Serious killing devices, that you can use to wreck someone's day. And
Yeah.
you could be freshly 18. Okay.
Right.
I mean, only been 18 for less than a year.
And you can sign the military while you're still 17.
Right. And a lot of those laws and regulations came about while we were in wartime.
Yep.
And
Well,
they,
and like along those lines, what you're saying, if a lot of the things that pertain to being 18 years of age, to gamble, that helps the government build funds, to join the military, again, government, taxation, again, government, and prison time, again, government. All pros for the government, cons for
the people, I guess it just depends on who you ask. I think the alcohol thing, there's a big push for that back. God, I couldn't tell you how many years ago, and because the drinking age used to be 18, and people were allowed to drink, and I couldn't rattle off any stats at you of how many people, and the stat keeping back in that time was not nearly as precise,
right.
as it is now, but I think that there is a very good argument for keeping the drinking age where it's at. I mean, I could maybe think about down to 20, but I think at least out of high school,
Right.
Because you just don't really you just really don't accept the gravity of the situation when you're out drinking and doing something wild. I mean, you could have somebody who's like very, very competent, okay? And whenever they're introduced to alcohol, they completely lose all of that. Their filters come off. They just go absolutely buck wild. We've all met people like that that are like normal.
Sure have, Chase.
Well, so the thing with it is it's like the younger you give those kids in it, because there's kids that are in high school till 20 years old, damn near 21.
Yeah.
I mean, now there's a cap on it, because
21.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
then you can buy alcohol for everybody.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I get it. You've got a lot to learn from the age of 18 to 21. You have to take on a lot more responsibility.
Critical
a lot,
time, right?
Yeah, a lot more things are expected of you. And
And the fact at 18 you can sign yourself into as much debt as you want.
yeah,
Credit card. I mean, I'm 20 years old. In my name, I have a house that we built, and I have 2 vehicles that we're paying on.
right.
So I'm not 21, so technically I'm not allowed to make the decision on if I should consume alcohol, but I can sure as fuck rack up as much debt as I want, or go buy any firearm besides a fucking pistol. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That one's a silly one. I'll
Yeah.
agree with you that one's a silly one. People are
Yeah.
gonna get firearms. However, I mean, luckily
It'll never stop. You can build a fucking firearm very, very, very easily out of pipes and springs.
Oh, I know. You're preaching to the choir, man. I totally get that because, at the age of 18, you don't really understand the world around you. You know, that's why you see so many really young.
Can you tell me that charger for the laptop?
That's why you see so many young people protesting about stuff that they don't really understand. Why you see people who are extremely young, like 18, 19, 20 years old, out in the streets rioting and protesting about capitalism and about the government and how it's an evil patriarchy and it needs to change.
An
It's
evil
like-
patriarchy.
And it's just like, do you understand the economy? Because there's people that have been studying it for 50 plus years and they still don't understand it.
No, they don't fucking understand it.
I get
I don't
it.
understand
Young
it.
people want social change, and I understand because
It's the same old tune.
yeah, it's the same old tune, and people want change all the time, and young people are always striving for that. And there are some things that are set in place, and they have been good for society, and some things that are old and outdated, and things do get old and outdated as technology and people and culture changes throughout the years. So I mean, honestly, I could see an argument for the firearms thing. People are getting more teaching about firearms. People can look up videos of people being shot and killed with firearms, and that can change people's lives.
I mean,
you know,
you don't have to look it up. You can fucking play Xbox.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you can literally
At any age.
simulate it out for yourself. You
Right.
know, they put restrictions on the games, but
Okay.
unless you're a parent that's
Yeah.
super restrictive about what your child sees.
I think we should bring back fucking firearms training in school.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
There's no reason we shouldn't. I think it would just be a more informed public, and we wouldn't have people like a young lady on my Facebook who decided to tell me that you have to have a permit to own any gun in Kentucky, which is not the case.
Not the case. I mean, well, you see
Thank
the
God
thing with
we're not in California.
we had such a big issue in this state with teen pregnancies and STDs and stuff like that.
Meth.
And so so the way that how did they attempt to fix that in schools? Well, sex ed. They initiated programs that taught
and we're
the
in the
youth
Bible
about it.
Belt, so that's fucking huge.
Yeah. Okay. They give away free condoms. They give away birth control. I mean, it's like, I don't understand why. Then you draw the line of guns like, oh, guns are malicious.
Oh, guns are fucking awful. Of
Yeah,
course,
when
guns
the-
kill people.
Yeah, and it's,
I got a safe full of them in there. They fucking go out every night and try to kill somebody.
you
It's
just gotta
insane.
wrangle them up, man.
Yeah,
You
just
gotta lock
keep,
them in there.
Gotta keep an eye on them, man. So I don't know, man. So I think by 21, most people already know their limits with alcohol.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
I think because honestly, dude, I'd say if you took an average poll of the
21-year-olds or 20-year-olds or
I'd say an average of what grade majority of people try alcohol. I would say it's probably 10th grade, sophomore year.
yeah, sophomore, junior year definitely would probably be the most. Dang, you dogs are level. I mean, it's a tough subject, but I can kind of agree with it because I know that I did stupid things when I was 18, and I'm glad I didn't have alcohol at my disposal. Or at 18 I was pretty much able to understand that you can't go around threatening people with a gun. But not everyone is raised like we are. Not everyone has a clear conscience and clear thinking ability to reason with themselves and other people so that they don't end up in a situation where they might have to pull a gun to defend themselves.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue is, in an ideal situation, should an 18-year-old who passes all the military requirements be able to carry a handgun or firearm or whatever? Yeah, sure. Because if he's deemed worthy of carrying a firearm to defend the country outside of the country or in the country, why can't he carry a firearm to defend himself inside the country?
Yeah, here's my thing. This is what kind of just really, this is the core of what bothers me. So right, 18, you can open carry a pistol. You cannot conceal carry that pistol till you're 21 years of age, and you can't buy a pistol from an FFL dealer till you're 21 years of age. Right. But that leaves 3 years, and I've experienced this personally because I've owned a pistol since I was 18. That I have to go into public brandishing a pistol. And now, most people, luckily, in this town don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, they don't.
But there are places I'll go into that you just walk through and everybody shuts up, everybody stares. It's like,
Right.
I'm not the guy you got to worry about. The guy who comes in here fucking everything up is the guy you have to worry about.
Right.
But just because, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you still have to take a test to get your CCDW license to conceal carry anyway. So I think that if I'm able to pass the CCDW test at 18 and I'm able to legally own a pistol at 18, there's no reason I should not be able to conceal carry that pistol at 18 if I'm able to pass the test, right?
Right.
And a lot of that test is just basic questions and then their shooting skill.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's just my thing. I think it's silly that I've got to scare more of the public than because most people are scared and they're not. They
Honestly,
don't
I think
see it.
that open carry, you could argue that is more dangerous for public
It's definitely more dangerous. Anybody could grab it, anybody could see it, and a
Yeah.
kid behind me in line could fucking just poke it,
Yeah.
which is not going to do anything,
But-
but it would terrify their parent, and it would
Yeah.
terrify me as the holder of the weapon.
Right.
Right? So
They could
anymore,
definitely
I
trigger
just don't carry it on me.
Yeah.
And so if I'm ever in a situation where I need it, guess who's going to get fucked?
Yeah. That's
And
true.
and it's because of regulation saying I can't conceal till I'm 21.
Yeah.
But luckily, I'll be 21 next month, so
Just right around the corner.
it'll be the top of the to-do list. Oh, and suppressor and SBR. 21 for both of those things.
Yeah.
Which SBR is just fucking bullshit. Let's all
Yeah.
agree. If anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, SBR stands for short-barreled rifle. Under the National Firearms Act, any barrel length under 16 inches, you have to submit quite a bit of paperwork to the FBI, and they pass it on to the ATF, or ATF passes to FBI, whichever the two. Basically, they run your name, they look into your past, they dig through everything. If you're not a violent offender, you don't have any felonies, et cetera, et cetera. Eventually, within about a year, usually, they will go ahead and allow you to have that firearm. Now, that process costs about $200, and for each weapon you purchase that has a suppressor or falls into the short-barreled rifle category is an additional $200 and more paperwork. It's not just you turn in your paperwork once and now you're able to buy those items, which it should be.
I think it should be more like that.
Yeah, but that's, again, government getting money, so they're not going to do that. But yeah, all those things kind of fall under the same book. So in summary, do you think the adulthood age should be raised to 21, or that the two things that are not able to be done at 18, which is drinking and owning a firearm or a pistol, namely, should be lowered to 18?
I think it should stay where they're at, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, as much as I want, I could see the argument for owning a pistol at 18. I think that's not a big deal for me. I mean, I know people, that are 18.
If you can own a fucking AR or any
Exactly.
other type of weapon.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hate that I use that as an example, but I mean, whatever, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I could see definitely owning a pistol at 18. It could become problematic because, it allows people who are 18 to conceal easier if they want to do so through nefarious or illegal means.
Which is still illegal
yeah,
to
yeah.
conceal.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we're going to talk about criminals, that's aside from the
exactly. So
larger party.
yeah, exactly. By majority, most, all law-abiding citizens who possess firearms do so in proper manner. I mean, for the most part. I mean, most people that go through I guess, because if you make it too easy, then people that don't need to get their hands on it get their hands on it. And here in Kentucky, I mean, it takes 15 minutes to buy a firearm. I mean,
that, yeah.
if you know what you want, you know where it's at in the store, you go, you grab it, or you tell them to get up off the store, and then they run your
Let's
background check
clarify,
and go.
because they do run a background check.
Yeah, 100%,
You
every
have-
single time.
They that's another thing that young lady brought up in the Facebook argument was that it was so easy to buy a firearm, you don't have to do a background check or anything. I was like, I don't know what kind of fucking CNN bullshit you've been watching,
Too much.
but you definitely have to run a background check. And I've been with someone personally that was not able to purchase a firearm that day because he couldn't pass a background check.
Yep.
So it's not just they, say, okay, thanks for your money. And I was watching a TV show. It's called Ozark with Jason Bateman, and he's a money launderer in that show. It's a really good show. You should check it out. But it did piss me off because at one of the scenes, Jason Bateman's character, Marty Bird, he's got a son who's probably 12, 13. And in the show, he kind of goes, spoiler alert, kind of goes down psychotically, I guess you could say. Mental state deteriorates a little bit with the move and finding out his dad's a drug dealer and shit. Okay, so to the point, he wants a firearm, right? So he befriends this kid who, it's hard to judge his age. I'm assuming he's 18 because he was able to purchase a firearm, but he has Down syndrome in the show. So he goes to this Down syndrome child, and he never says his name, so we'll call him Larry, right? So he goes to Larry, and he's like, Larry, I want a firearm, right? So go get that for me. So Larry goes into the store, and the guy behind the counter selling the firearm to him looks at his license, and looks at him, looks at his license, looks at him, and he said, "Okay, well, here's your paperwork. Fill this out for me." And which you and I are both gun owners. We both know this isn't true. But in the show, so this Larry, he's sitting there filling his paperwork out.
Right.
And he hands it to the guy. The guy reads it. He's like, okay, this sentence right here says, are you buying this for someone else? And you checked yes. You checked the wrong box. You need to check right there. It's like, one, they don't help you at all. It's illegal to assist anyone on that form.
The most that they can do is read the question.
Yeah, read the question. That's
word
it.
by word, and they're very strict on that. And if they're not, you're in a bad place.
Yeah,
shouldn't trust those people.
Yeah, so that kind of pissed me off, and after he was like, oh, okay, so he marked it out and he put it in the no box, and then he gave him his money and he walked out with it.
So was the character like visibly mentally disturbed?
Yes.
Like, I mean, like,
he had Down syndrome. It was very evident, which I'm not sure in particular because I don't have any personal experience with it. I know you have to be of a certain mental capacity to be able to own a firearm.
Yeah.
So I think some folks with a very small degree of Down syndrome may still be able to own firearms.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. It depends on whether or not you've been declared like mentally deficient to a certain degree.
Yeah, which a judge is a huge
and
part
in that case, you can't even get your driver's license.
Right.
There's a lot of different things that you're excluded
This
from.
guy rode a bicycle, but he did present some form of identification, whether I think it was a driver's license. So,
yeah, the thing about it is it's like an FFL can deny selling you a firearm at any time.
Yeah.
For any reason.
For any reason, even if you just look suspicious to him.
Say if a severely mentally handicapped guy walked in, okay, and walks into this gun store, okay, especially around here, walks in and he's severely crippled. And even if he's got his license and somehow he's able to fill out the sheet correctly, this guy can tell he's just screwed in all sorts of different ways. The FFL can straight up say, hey, you might have to have somebody come in here and purchase his firearm with you. Just, he's like, I don't feel comfortable. And I've seen firearms dealers do that before when people go in there and they start asking really stupid questions. Like one of my buddies was telling me about how a guy went into Whitaker's, obviously, you know what Whitaker is, and went into Whitaker's Guns and said, would this shoot through the back of a bus? They told him right then and there, they said, there's no way we're going to sell you a firearm after saying something stupid like that.
That's a huge liability for them.
And that guy got mad. He said, this is not okay. I'm a paying customer. You can't treat me like this. He's like,
they have every right.
He's like, we're a private business. We can treat you however we want.
Yeah.
Just saying something stupid like that.
Which is totally not okay to say that.
It's not okay to say that. That's like saying.
That gives everyone in that store a bad name.
Yeah, exactly. And if you sell it to them and then you go and shoot up a bus full of kids, it's going to be like.
Well, he said he was going to do it.
Yeah, he said he was going to do it. Are you going to be able to live with that on your conscience as an FFL dealer? No,
definitely not.
And they're very conscious about that. They do care about the gun community, and most of those guys are very laid back and they're very chill.
Oh yeah, it's by far my favorite gun store.
Even if you don't know anything, they'll help you. They'll be like, "What are you using it for? What is it going to be used for?"
Proper answer is not shooting through the back of a bus. For anyone out there.
Exactly. So
our one listener.
I mean, that's the stuff that drives me nuts. But people portray things in the narrative that they see fit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to do that in TV shows, on the news, in YouTube clips. It doesn't really matter. Obviously it's just whoever's, writing the story or telling the story. Yeah. And that's clearly egregious. I mean, that's not factual at all. Right. And anybody who's been to a gun store.
And that was on a TV show.
Yeah, that's on a TV show.
It's not, a Netflix show, but nonetheless.
It's basically a TV show now.
Who fucking watches cable anymore?
Right.
Okay, so onwards.
Beat that horse to death.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Onwards. What about this North Korea deal, dog? We've been hearing about North Korea for fucking deep, right?
Yeah.
So now Trump puts his dick on the table. He's
Yeah.
like, listen, guys, we're done with it. You say any more shit, and we're going to bring fury and power, direct quote.
Fire and fury.
Yeah, fire, fury, and power. And within hours, North Korea responds saying that they are considering launching ICBMs at Guam. And our response has been nothing yet.
That's bad.
One, what should President Trump do? Two, do you think North Korea will do it?
To the first question, what should Trump do? Probably shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, he should probably shut
Fair.
up.
On
when
the
you
second hand, we've always been the country that has enforced rules, right?
Right.
Even when NATO hasn't, because they're fucking pussies. We've always been the country that said no.
call you out, NATO.
Yeah, fucking NATO. Listen to this shit. We've always been the country that's like, no, this is not okay, Syria. You cannot chemical attack your fucking civilians.
Right.
This is not okay, North Korea, to be launching ICBMs as even tests, right? So now that we've put our dick on the table, because collectively as a nation, we have, because he's our president speaking.
Oh yeah.
So we've said, if you do some shit, we're going to be there. Now, them threatening to do some shit is not them doing some shit. So just because he said something, he hasn't done it. And I think if he does launch an ICBM at Guam, one, it won't land. We or the Japanese will intercept, because the Japanese came out today saying that there will be military repercussions if North Korea does it,
Right.
which is a huge factor for North Korea.
Yeah.
So one, it won't get anywhere. But two, we're definitely gonna have to do something. We're gonna
it's
have
an
to
act
put boots
of
on the
aggression.
ground.
I mean, if we're willing to launch Tomahawk strikes at Syrian bases,
49
over,
of them bitches.
yeah, 49 of them, which is a significant amount of money to just shoot at the ground.
Yep.
You got to say that the military advisors are going to look long and hard at that
Yeah.
situation and
Well,
think,
namely General Mattis.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I trust that guy.
badass
as
motherfucker.
far as military actions are concerned, he knows the
He's
ins
the
and outs
guy.
of the military.
Yeah.
And he's very smart, and he's very concise about all his approaches to everything. I mean, if they did something that stupid, which I don't think that they would, they've always just been trying to get everyone's attention. You know, they want to act like they're still relevant. Take it easy. They want to act like they're still relevant. They want to just, keep their name on the global scale. You know, like, oh, we're not as poor and we're not as, famous as you guys think we are.
Go on.
So, I mean, we will see, because this will all play out. I think that it's just another attempt to get the
Eyeballs.
Yeah, just to get eyeballs. I mean, North Korea is a pretty failed state at this point. Everybody would agree to that.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
Yeah.
You look at South Korea compared to North Korea. Who won in the long run?
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. has been looking at North Korea for a long, hard time, especially as far as military intervention is concerned. I mean, that's the biggest thing about it. I mean, this isn't the first time we've thought about invading Korea. Again,
Yeah.
because they've been playing this game for a long time, even before Kim Jong Un. I mean, it's like,
Kim Jong Il, his father, was
Yeah.
the same exact way.
yeah. I mean,
It's a little fucking crazier.
yeah. I mean,
A little more age under his belt.
we'll see. I think that we should definitely stick to our guns. We definitely have the military capacity to completely eliminate.
Oh, we
any
could wipe them off the map, but nuclear options are not an option at this. I think looking back on history with Pearl Harbor and the nuclear attacks that we launched on the Japanese, that to me that was even a mistake, man. I think that opened a fucking can of worms that shouldn't have been touched. And after that, everybody was in an arms race, man. Oh fuck, the U.S. just nuked somebody.
Yeah.
That is enormous on the global scale.
Yeah.
And now we've got the capabilities of fucking thousands of times the blast that we dropped on Hiroshima.
Oh, yeah.
And Nagasaki.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean thousands of times, like probably hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, the other side of that equation is that since then, since the end of World War II, there hasn't been any all-out open warfare between nations. There's been proxy wars everywhere.
Yeah.
There's proxy wars all the time.
Conflicts.
Yeah, conflicts, which are not all out open war. Yes, it's a tragedy. Millions of people have died since then through these conflicts, and it's terrible. But the good thing about nuclear arms is everyone's afraid to pull the trigger because they know everyone's going to get burned. And it's good because, you know, for the most part, the people that have had nuclear arms haven't used them for bad reasons. I mean, you know, they could. You know, Russia's got nukes, we got nukes, China's got nukes, North Korea has quote unquote nukes.
No, they definitely have them now. It's confirmed.
I mean, they've confirmed
they fucking got them. Whether they can launch them bitches is a different story.
It's possible that
get Wile E. Coyote in there, show them how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, it's like the forbidden fruit. It's like once you use it, there's no going back.
Yeah.
You know, and if you use it in 2017, like if they were to drop one in 2017, that's humongous because, you know, the last time we dropped one was back in the 40s. And I mean, oh man.
I'm fucking done with it.
I mean, that's like the implications of that. It's just like if they're going to drop it on them, you know, who else could they drop it on, you know, if you piss them off enough?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, tickling the bear. It's like, oh man, you might mess up and you might step on a line, you know? So it's definitely not an option. We have the military capacity to completely take out their authoritarian government very quickly and effectively, you know, with the smallest amount of casualties as possible without nuclear weapons. So, I mean, you could do it. I don't see him doing it, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think that, honestly, if you could just more sanctions,
sanctions don't work.
They work on the wrong people. Not with
the Russians.
They work on the wrong people. You know,
the Russians are back in North Korea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the problem is it's like, even when you cut off their trade lines and stuff like that, the people that suffer are the civilians.
Yeah,
they suffer the
Kim
most.
Kim Jong-un's fat ass ain't getting any skinnier.
Look at him.
Yeah,
he's not missing any meals.
Right.
You know, but you look outside, those people are eating grass.
Yeah.
They pick grass and eat it. They boil it in stews. I'm like, man, something has to be done eventually. And maybe there will be, because normally when things get like this for a certain amount of time, there's a coup and they overthrow the military dictatorship, and normally another dictator pops up in his place, and sometimes he's worse, sometimes he's better. But right now it's just like the people are suffering over there. There's thousands and millions of people that are going without food, and we've stood by for so long. It's like, it's hard to see, but it's like there's not a lot of good options.
The most oppressed nation by far.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a fair statement.
I mean, when people are out here protesting about capitalism and promoting these Marxist socialist ideas,
it's funny how the system they're fighting allows them to have a voice.
Right.
Try that shit in North Korea.
Try to have a voice.
Yeah,
you will be pulled out in the dark and shot in the back of the head.
Yeah, or put in a labor camp for months or years.
Forever.
And then, you know, like the American that was over there, and he stole a poster and beat him into a fucking coma. Beat him and waterboarded him into a coma is the article I read. And then they seen he wasn't going to survive, so they said, here, take him back. And then he died. So... And that was an American, much less what do they do to their own people?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because they know what they're doing when they're messing with Americans that are on their soil. They know that's...
I think for the amount of resources that the United States military has and the amount of reach that the U.S. in general has, I think it would be unbelievably simple. I won't say easy, I'll say simple. For us to send a recon team in and just put a bullet in the guy's head.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing about that is the next most bloody badass dude with a club steps up.
Take him out.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a never ending process over there because it's like those people don't know anything else.
I think that would be the best solution. And
maybe
even in that case, we'd have plausible deniability. If we didn't, you know, we drop a nuke, that's not going to be...
You can't hide that on CNN.
No, that's... that was probably a U.S. plane.
Honestly, I think...
But a bullet doesn't have a name on it.
Here's the thing. I think the best situation possible that the U.S. could come up with is the same thing that we've tried to pull off in several different countries like Iran, that we pulled off in Hawaii back in the early 1900s. Send in the special ops, put together a coup, overthrow like they did in Nicaragua.
Yep.
Pull together a coup. Pull together a coup. I mean, it would be extremely difficult because you're dealing with people that look very different, that talk very different, and that are very, very different from our own. But I mean, if you really think about it, it's worked before in the past. It's turned a lot of those states into more turmoil, though, which sucks.
More divide. Yeah, by far.
it really sucks, but it's just like at this point, it's like those people have been suffering their entire lives, and it's like, I mean, you couldn't just introduce that generation to democracy. They wouldn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. They'd be like, vote. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna go to a labor camp if I vote for the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you can vote for whoever. I'm like, you gonna believe
Yeah,
that?
fuck that.
Like my dad, they told my dad
We've
to say
heard that before.
Yeah,
No, no thanks.
Aunt Linda's been splitting rocks into smaller rocks for
Yeah.
30 years for that. So they're so far gone that it's like any attempt to fix it almost makes it worse. So it's just like you need something big enough to overturn what's the current accepted thought, but not something so big that it plunges it into turmoil. But from the ashes, maybe something beautiful can rise.
What do you think? Airstrikes, boots on the grounds, but no nukes, or no airstrikes, boots on the ground? They've got, I won't say an impressive, but they have a large military simply because it's a forced military. So I think if we put boots on the ground, exclusively just boots on the ground, I think we may have a flashback of Vietnam.
It's possible. It's possible. I just think that the difference is they are not very well equipped compared to the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
The Vietnamese were getting, like the NVA was getting a lot of weaponry from outside the country. I don't know if Russia would be willing to send weapons and armaments, give them tanks, give them ammunition. I don't know if China would. I don't think China
China
they're tapping out on that because
I don't think Russia would either, just because it's a losing cause.
there's nothing to gain there.
They could give them Russia's entire military and it would still be close.
But another big reasons why it's such a volatile situation is, where is North Korea on a map? It's
Right next to Syria.
It's also right next to Russia. And do you think the Russians want us putting military boots? Not only are we on the Polish border, but now we're on the other side as well. Well, shit, the domain keeps closing up and closing up. Here's NATO forces on both sides of our country. They've got nukes over here and nukes over here.
Yeah, that's why
poking the bear, man.
That's why after we shot down that Russian fighter jet, that's why, or the Syrian fighter, I think I misspoke there, shot down that Syrian fighter jet, and that's why Russia, I don't know if you heard about that, they said no more planes west of the Euphrates, the river. Right. It's always kind of been like that.
Yeah.
However, there was an open line of communication between Russia and Americans where it was, hey, your plane's in the wrong fucking airspace.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're no harm, we'll turn around. Right? Well, now supposedly they will just shoot them down with no warning. I don't think that'll happen either. I don't think Russia's that stupid. I think they're fucking crazy. I don't think they're that stupid though.
Yeah.
And if that did happen, there'd be no choice but retaliation.
Right.
That also might be one of those things that gets twisted in the media, and it's like, hey, this, or we may never even hear about it. Jet malfunction, fell out of the sky. Definitely was not blown down by Russia. Yeah, I don't know, man.
There's so many different moving parts.
It's a very, very, very delicate situation. If they
you're risking peace.
Yeah, if they try to, fucking North Korea is risking peace.
You're right.
It's a delicate situation, though. That's for sure. If they try and launch an active ICBM, it's going to be intercepted, no doubt. But it's still, we cannot allow that to happen. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
We can't allow it. If we let them get away with it one time, they're going to keep doing it. And I personally think that we should have never allowed them to test them. I don't know why. We're like, okay, look, our intelligence is saying they're about to test a missile. Should we do anything? No, just give it to CNN. They'll fucking tell everybody about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about it is, like, we're normally pretty strict on everybody else, but it's just like, I guess for the longest time, they didn't really have the premium capabilities to launch an ICBM accurately and do any damage with it.
Supposedly they were still, 2 to 5 years out?
Yeah.
And that suddenly became 2 months? Is that some maybe outside help that came in there?
Possibly.
I don't see any other way.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting the supplies from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've got resources there, and I mean, they've got basically free labor. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they can come up with anything, man. I mean, that's how they got nuclear weapons. I mean, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's fucking politics.
Yeah.
So tell me some of the shit that you hate.
Some of the stuff that I hate.
There's shit that just gets on your fucking nerves. Let's hear it.
I hate government intrusion as much as the next guy.
Aside from politics,
Aside from politics.
we kind of touched on a lot of that.
Yeah, we beat that one.
Let's turn
to
it back to a little bit of funny.
Oh, a little bit of funny. Oh, well, it's hard to go from nuclear holocaust to
Nuclear
funny.
war, yeah, nuclear crisis. You're getting a
man.
call there, bud.
Yeah, it's nobody important.
Nobody.
It never is.
No.
I don't know, man.
That
I
would
mean,
imply you have friends.
oh, yeah, right. I don't know. There's all kinds of great things going on in our world today. I mean, the advancements of science and all these cool things as far as like stem cells and CRISPR and all these really, really cool things that are like possibly like the next like huge development, like autonomous cars.
That's making a lot of sound.
Yeah, well, a lot.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like autonomous cars, dude. I don't hate autonomous cars. A lot of people are complaining about that. Like, ruining
I've seen an
people's
episode of
jobs.
Eureka about that. and
Oh,
it
yeah?
didn't work
Love
out.
that show.
Didn't work out well.
It didn't.
No.
No.
I think that was like mapped roads though. Like the roads had more to do with it. I think Tesla is a very, very, very sophisticated company, and I think that they're going to produce a lot of great things we have never even thought were possible before.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited to see what Elon Musk comes up with next. I
Yeah.
mean, they just now started rolling out those Model 3s. The affordable electric sedan. It's like
Affordable.
yeah, well, it's $35,000 for a
That's a lot.
Not an SUV, a sedan. Yeah, it's an affordable sedan. I mean, $35,000. I mean, think about
You
a
can buy a
premium
brand
car.
new Camaro for 22.
Right. But with the Tesla, you're getting, I mean, semi-autonomous driving. I'll call it that because it's not fully autonomous driving. It'll parallel park for you. I mean, you get like 250 miles per charge. I mean,
At what point does the technology? I wouldn't say go too far, but at what point does the technology start to take over too much? As far as you literally have to be able to parallel park to get your license, right? You don't
Right.
have to. They take a point off.
yeah.
If you can't, I think you should probably be. I just think it should be required.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult of a fucking challenge, especially if you
Yeah.
practice a little bit.
Yeah.
But if it can parallel park for you, why even learn it? And I think you should. I think you should learn it. I think it's
Yeah,
an important
keep
part
it
of
in the
driving.
test then. Keep it in the test.
What I've always thought would be nifty, especially here in Owensboro, all you fucking drivers, never using your goddamn turn signals. Yes, I'm talking to you watching this because you don't use it either. What I've always thought would be unique, and maybe not even show it off as a feature, but if you turn the wheel more than a certain degree, your blinker automatically comes on the outside of the vehicle and turns itself back off. I don't think, maybe keep it blind to the driver so that the driver doesn't rely on that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Because I don't think it should have to do it for you. I think it's a good thing that it would do it for you.
Yeah.
Because no one in this fucking town uses it. They have
Yeah.
no idea what it is.
Right.
It's like some foreign fucking joystick over there.
Right.
But I think it would be a good thing. Maybe it. I think it's a very lazy way to think that it should just do it for you. But maybe it'd be a safer way to drive if it just did it for you.
Yeah.
And the technology's definitely there.
True,
If
definitely.
you can have Wi-Fi in your fucking car, it can definitely put
I
on
mean,
a
well, they've
blinker
got
for
the
you.
blind spot monitors. I know you've seen the new Hondas that
Yeah.
have the cameras on the mirrors.
Yeah, that's insane.
Which is freaking cool. You hit the turn
Mm-hmm.
signal and then the camera pops up on your thing. You don't even have to look out your car anymore because you got a freaking
Right.
damn near 180-degree view of the road to the left of you or to the right of you. And I'm like, whoa, shit. I mean,
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, yeah, you definitely need turn signals. And it'd be nice to have that as, kind of, because a lot of people don't like to use their turn signals.
Oh yeah, it's like the hardest 0.3 of a second to
People's
do.
lives, yeah.
Yeah, it blows my fucking mind, dude. Or the thing that fucking really gets me going, man. Once again, first world problems, something I should not get upset about. I could write a book on the shit I shouldn't get upset about. But when people put the turn signal on after they've applied brakes, so you're going down the road, the vehicle in front of you is coming to a seemingly complete stop in the middle of the road because that's what people around here do as well. They just stop in the middle of the road and then turn. But they will get literally to the point where they are turning and then put on their turn signal. I don't know, man. I think if you put on if your brake lights come on before your turn signal, you're doing it wrong. I think signaling direction and your intentions as a driver is very important, to say the least.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you
I
had
don't know.
all autonomous cars on the road, I mean, you wouldn't even have to worry about that. They would take care
true.
of it themselves. I mean,
Then we'll become all like a fucking Wall-E movie.
yeah, like, yeah,
Yeah.
eventually.
Why even have cars?
Yeah, I mean,
Fuck it. We got internet.
not like we're going anywhere.
Yeah. Amazon's got those drones that'll just deliver shit. You
Yeah,
got
right,
the
Jared.
Kroger click list now.
Yeah, I saw
You
that.
can do all your shopping entirely online.
That's pretty neat. I haven't even
Yeah.
really checked into that. Someone was telling me about it the other day, and I thought, oh, that might be neat.
Yeah, that would be
Maybe-
super cool. I haven't done it. I don't plan to do it.
Mhm.
For the simple fact I don't do the grocery shopping.
Mhm.
But I do hate Kroger with a passion. Not Kroger itself. Don't get me wrong. Kroger's a great company. I worked for them for a couple years, and I enjoyed my experience there besides the manager. But just the fact of going into the store and spending time there
Yeah.
when I could be doing other things that I enjoy doing,
Mhm.
you know, albeit anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man, my wife gets really upset at me over that because I just throw a fucking fit. I don't like it. But she doesn't like going by herself. She doesn't mind going. She just doesn't want to be by herself, and I mind going.
Here's the thing. The thing that is going to change a lot is that one of the reasons why it's beneficial for stores to have you come in is that they can advertise to you
Yeah.
in that way. You know, if you walk into a grocery store, you know, all around the edges of the store, you should know, you know, you work there, so
Yeah.
you would know. In most grocery stores, all the produce and fresh food is all
Yep.
around the edges of the store.
Because
And
they're refrigerated.
right, refrigerated, and it's cheaper to keep them on the outside. They can stock them from the back or
Yep.
whatever, what have you. And then on the inside, you have like all the grains, you have all the you know, Kellogg's and Nabisco and all those different companies that put their stuff on the shelves there and are advertised to certain people. You know, you have the high sugary products, which are in everything now. Everything you have to search. You have to search for stuff that doesn't have added, you know, high fructose
Low
corn
fat,
syrup.
high sugar.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And now we know that's all BS now,
Yeah.
and it drives me nuts. But I think that with the introduction of stuff like that, you're going to get advertised to no matter what. And you can make an argument that advertising is good in some ways. You know, you can be
Right.
informed of
New products.
Yeah, new products, life-saving treatments, or what
Mm-hmm.
have you. You know, something newer and better that would be beneficial in your day-to-day life. There's nothing wrong with that. When it gets too intrusive into your personal life is when it becomes a problem. You know, when you've got your data being sold to other companies and then they use it for reasons other than advertising, that's when it gets a little squirrely. But that
Yeah.
you really don't fucking know what's going on there. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's so much stuff on the horizon that in 10 years we're going to be completely blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, like autonomous cars, like we'll see how this Tesla stuff pans out, you know, because a $35,000 car, not cheap, but it's affordable to
I don't know, man.
look.
I think that's a stretch to say a $35,000 car is affordable.
Well, you also get a $5,000, you know, tax deductible for having a 100% efficient car, which is cool.
$5,000.
Yeah, so $30,000. People have no problem. Middle income families don't have a problem going out and spending
Yeah.
20 to 30K on a car when they're like, oh, I need a brand
I'd
new
say
car.
mid-20s, man. I don't
Yeah.
want to spend over mid-20s.
Right. This is the first iteration of a affordable, quote unquote, you know, I forget I don't have to do that, but you
It's
know,
also
car.
a little more technology and a little more research and development and a lot more bang for your buck as far as the Tesla product compared to, you know, your typical gas engine.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean-
I can see that. I can see the reason it's priced above a
Yeah.
normal vehicle. What I can't see is calling 35 grand affordable for a vehicle, man. I mean, you can
For most
fucking
people-
you can buy a house for that.
Here's
I
the
mean, not a
yeah.
good house.
but a
But a house.
Yeah, you can get a house, and that's the thing. I mean, hell, you can go out and buy a Ford Raptor for $55,000.
Badass.
You know, badass vehicle. You know, but I think that in time, you know, Tesla's doing a lot of crazy things. They just built that battery factory so that they're going to be, you know, basically monopolizing their chain.
Yeah.
You know, now batteries like lithium batteries. That the biggest problem with production was that they couldn't get batteries fast enough because they needed more batteries for these cars. And I understand. I mean, these are humongous lithium batteries. Thank God that lithium's in plenty of supply. But I mean, we're talking about, you know, maybe in 5 to 10 years, $25,000. you know. And then think about that, how quickly vehicles depreciate in value. So $25,000 the first year, the next year 24,000. You know, 5 years down the road, if those Teslas are as good as they claim to be for a $35,000
yeah.
car, you may be able to get one for 17 or 18,000, and it,
You know, 5 years lithium probably won't even be the power source anymore.
you never know. That's what's so crazy. I mean, we're that's why I say it's just
You
like
know, we
10,
say
15.
shit like this, but people 10 years ago said shit like this. And all we've really done is made our TVs thinner
Yeah.
and our phones larger. You know,
Yeah.
that was funny for the longest time. Well, since the fucking beginning of cell phones, we've been trying to get them smallest possible. We got them down to like razor size.
Yeah.
And then we started going back up. And I think that was largely in part of Apple. But he's having a good time over there.
Something's going on here.
He's like a fucking cat. Just likes to rub his body.
Oh.
Anybody that's not watching and just listening, Bo decided, Bo is one of my dogs. He decided to rub himself through Chase's legs
Oh yeah, he's having a
to
great,
play with his rabbit.
having a great
And
time.
he's a fucking 70-pound pit bull.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he's playing with a stuffed rabbit, so don't worry about it. He's a very aggressive dog. But yeah, man, I don't know.
We're on the horizon, man. We're going to be seeing some crazy
Breakthroughs.
stuff. I mean, talking about gun technology, regular technology like computers. I mean, processors are getting. I mean, you're talking, man, like you don't even like. There's so many different issues being solved and created at the same time. It's like you can't keep up with all of them. You have to pick and choose some. Some you get to write down and pick and fuss about, and some of them go right over your head, you know, and
Yeah.
you never hear about until you're like, oh, I never knew about that until somebody told me, you know. And I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. Things are always changing, and since now we have the introduction of the internet, it's like things change so fast, you know. And when people are spewing bullshit, they get checked really quick.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the good thing. It's crazy growing up in a time that I don't remember before the internet, and that sounds fucking insane to a lot of people.
And alien to some people.
Yeah,
as well.
especially like our parents, you know.
Oh,
They they had fucking party lines growing up. So for me, you know, I had a fucking cell phone at 13 and fucking surfing the web, and they didn't have that shit till they were what, fucking late 20s, early 30s, probably.
Oh yeah, I mean, it took my dad forever to get a cell phone, you know.
And my dad still calls me for IT support.
Yeah, I mean, that generation, they've gotten to witness a very beautiful thing with the introduction of the internet and
Yeah,
how it's
crazy.
changed the
And
world.
I think it'll change a lot more to come.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a lot of change. I mean, this is only the first few years it's been around to everybody. I mean, you know, Elon Musk, same guy. You know, he's talking about putting satellites in space to provide 2-3G to everybody on the whole planet. You know, and I'm like, whoa.
Dude, you see? That's kind of off topic.
Oh, go
Did
ahead.
you see all the space junk that we have up there?
Oh God, it's kind of scary, man.
Yeah, like okay, we've what 1950s first time we really went to space
Started
was
throwing
when we
stuff out
launched.
there,
Yeah, launched the first orbital satellite, right?
Right.
So from then until what 2017 now, so we'll call it 67 years. So just round up to 70.
Yeah.
In 70 years, we have made it very difficult to get ourselves into space because of all the shit that we've left there.
Definitely need to do something
All the
about that.
debris floating around, and it's an insane amount. When I heard about this, I was like, space is fucking huge. There can't be that much. Because I know one of the things that really I questioned was that NASA has to track all this space debris geographically in relation to where their launch point is, and they have to time it just right so that they can get into orbit without hitting any shit. Yeah, dude, and it's fucking everywhere. You can actually go on a website and track it live, and it looks like a beehive that you've just beat the shit out of, and these bees are just fucking everywhere. That's what it looks like.
You know, whoever invents a efficient process of collecting that space junk and bringing it back down and selling it,
See, the problem with that is that, well, no, see, the problem with that is that, and I learned this from, what's his name? Neil Tyson deGrasse.
Yeah, and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, yeah. I learned it from him. Basically, it's in orbit. It's in rotation
Right.
with the Earth. So approximately it's traveling about 18,000 miles per hour.
Sweet.
Yeah. So there was a project launched to basically, in layman's terms, basically send a satellite up there with a big giant fucking net on it and catch all this shit and then, let it fall back to Earth. 18,000 miles an hour projectiles. Don't know what the net could be made of to catch that.
Well, if you're going, if you can match its speed, which you definitely can, because that's how we get,
Right.
into orbit in the first place, and gradually slow it down, which would be the toughest task, gradually slow it down and get it to a point where it would fall. But then you have to get it to fall in a place where it's not going to kill a bunch of people.
And that's almost impossible.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, I don't know. But like I said, whoever can efficiently do that, they're going to make a lot of fucking money. Because you're like, got some prime space real estate right up here we just cleared up.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think that they'll even fucking make it. It'll probably be one of those NASA projects nobody ever fucking hears about.
Yeah. Well, until they start colliding into each other.
That's when it'll be the issue.
And then they
right?
start falling back to Earth, which they shouldn't collide with each other unless something acts on them. If something like a small meteorite or something just nicks one and sends it just enough momentum to push it into another one, and that pushes it into another one, and 3 or 4 satellites are knocked just close enough to where they're no longer falling around the Earth, they're actually falling into orbit. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, we'll find out when it comes to it, but it's just
shit's great. That the entire idea of space is just overwhelming. If you think about it, man, if you just sit down and fucking just think, and I sound like I'm fucking stoned right now. No, I'm definitely
go
not.
on some straight stone
talk
talk right
fucking,
now.
Yeah, just go gnarly dog. No, dude, yeah, it's just overwhelming though. All that shit.
And we got all the space in the universe, and we're cluttered up.
We're chilling.
Yeah.
We're chilling here. I don't know. It's probably because the Earth is flat,
Oh yeah, see that causes a problem with those
Stuck in a
satellites,
time cube and
Yeah, the 4 parallel days.
yeah, how the Earth has 4 corners and shit. No, we're totally fucking playing about that.
No, we're not.
no.
The Earth is flat. Stay woke. Stay woke.
Wake up, America.
Wake up.
Wake up. The
Jesus
2 listeners
two.
that are it's probably 0.
It's probably
I don't know
0.
how long we've been going, but it's been a while.
We got an hour and 30.
Really?
Just an hour and 30. Yeah.
That seems relatively larger than I thought it was going to be. It's gone pretty quick, but me and you talk a lot anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beneficial thing, and it's just 2 of us. When you add a third person in the mix, that third person gets to interject while 2 people are talking, and they're like, what about that?
Yeah, new ideas. And
yeah,
new,
and it's just like,
new
ooh, I didn't
topics.
even think about that.
Right.
Because we're kind of in like mental ping pong. You say something, then I'm like, oh yeah, well I think this, and then you're like, well, what about that?
Yeah.
But then when you got a third person, they're like, hey, grab that ball and throw it this way. So I mean,
Yeah, I think Zach, who never showed up and never texted me, so I hope he listens to this.
yeah.
I think he would have had a lot of good ideas on these.
Oh yeah, and
Only
he's
stop it.
freaking hilarious, dude.
Oh
too.
yeah,
I
this
mean,
one was more of idea exchanging. I think when Zach gets involved, it'll come to more of a rip fest almost.
Oh yeah, and that's
it'll be a lot
totally
of
fine.
making fun of each other, and it'll be fucking hilarious. So
It'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
yeah, well, he's also got a lot of good ideas too, though.
True, and he's not afraid to call people out on their bullshit either. And I know
he's
you're
a
not
very
either. So.
yeah, he's a very direct guy and a very honest guy.
Yeah.
Which I think we should all aspire to be a little more like that.
Yeah.
So while we're on fucking not stoned, what do you think, man?
What do I think about what?
Legalization.
Legalization.
What do you think?
I mean, I think it falls under the same thing we were talking about earlier. Personal rights, man. I don't think, government intrusion. I don't think the government should have the right to tell you what you can and can't put in your body.
It's absolutely right.
I mean, whether you think all drugs should be legal or just some of them.
What about that?
I've talked to
fuck it, legalize them all.
I have heard some very compelling arguments from people that believe that just why don't you just legalize
Fucking
it?
legalize them, man.
I think should probably be a gradual process just so there's not abuse in the private sector. When I say the private sector, I mean as far as business is concerned.
corporations.
Because, you see how like how crazy the pharmaceutical companies can get with it. They're developing stuff like fentanyl that is just, I mean,
It's like 100 times more potent than meth.
oh,
Is that right?
Jeez,
Is that right?
I can even tell you the number. I mean, you just the LD50 is like just a speck.
Yeah.
Just a speck will kill you.
Yeah, you can literally just inhale it and die.
Yeah, I mean,
I think a 10-year-old girl actually met her fate that way.
it wouldn't surprise me. So I think that the government kind of overstepping their boundaries with the war on drugs, which has been a complete failure. I mean,
It was a money grab.
yeah, it's a money grab, and people are starting to realize that, especially with the marijuana. Most of the country,
that shit's so dumb.
yeah, most of the people in the
Shit's so
country
dumb.
believe that most people in the country have consumed, and most
Yeah.
people in the country believe it should be definitely. I think it was like almost the polls up to almost 80% of people believe it should medicinally be legalized. And I'm like, that's the people being modest.
If it's a fucking government by the people for the people, and there's 80% in favor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just
Now let me make something clear. I've never tried marijuana. I've never had the desire to consume marijuana. Although I don't see the downside.
I don't see
The only downside that I could see, which I just fucking contradicted myself, is just not the drug itself, but the crowd the drug brings. As far as, say, me and you go get some fucking pot, right? We're like,
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna get fucking high. Let's call up our buddies that smoke pot.
Okay.
We'll get together. So we're all sitting here in this room now. I think at least one guy in the room will not just be doing pot.
possible,
I
yeah.
think that at least one of them will be like, "Oh, dude, check out this fucking other drug, whatever it is." And I think that is where the issue comes in, because it's proven that marijuana is not addictive, although I think the lifestyle can be addictive.
oh yeah, 100%. I
So,
mean, it can cause people
That's a non-smoker's opinion on it.
yeah, I mean, it can cause people to be more not in tune with their goals because you can
Right.
be satisfied
And it
with
can
the
also
now.
focus. People can focus more on their goals. I mean, it's similar to
affects
alcohol,
everybody differently.
right? It's similar to alcohol, and that affects everybody different.
I know certain people that say when they smoke pot, they get super paranoid and that they can't go out in public and they can't really talk to people very well. They get very anxious. And I know people that are like, I don't want to go out in public unless I'm high. He's just like, I deal with people so much better when I'm high.
Right.
And I'm just like, that in and of itself, hearing that argument from so many different people, it's just like,
I think I could be wrong, so correct me on this. Is it more of people with and like introvert personalities? They have an easier time connecting with people when they're high, or and likewise for extroverts like you and myself,
Yeah.
we would be the more paranoid type that would want to stay in,
I think it
or
depends.
is it just in general, just
solely
everybody
on
different?
the individual. It could be have something to do with that, but I've seen guys who are very emotionally disturbed smoke weed and then they lose it, and they don't take it very well. They begin to panic, their heart rate gets up and they feel like they're going to have a panic attack and die, and that may or may not be a psychological response as much as it is a physical response. So I mean, everybody's different, but there's one thing that's for certain. Over the amount of tests that have been able to be done on marijuana in reputable scientific studies have shown that it, as far as detrimental to your health, it's close to zero. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
100% because there are some issues with people with high blood pressure
Right.
and people who may be at risk for stroke or heart disease, may not, because it increases your blood pressure and your heart rate. So yeah, but the same thing with alcohol. Those people can't drink either, but they legally can. It really just comes down: should the government be able to tell you what you can do in your bedroom?
It's like I'm wanting to think, and this is where the laptop would come in handy to fact check me here, but I'm wanting to think that about 40% of the incarcerated population is due to non-violent drug offenses.
It's probably more. It's probably more.
Yeah, I
Which
wouldn't
is
doubt
scary.
it. And that's, dude, it's fucking crazy. Non-violent drug offenses, right? So that means they didn't fuck anybody up. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't rob anybody. They didn't do shit. They are probably down on luck and said, fuck it, man, let's sell some
Some of
pot."
them, yeah. And here's the thing that I don't think that people really look into enough as far as the drug crisis is concerned, if you even want to call it a crisis. I mean, in some place it is, you know. Whenever you outlaw something in a particular place, like in the United States, it's illegal to acquire many of these drugs off the street, if not all of them. You can't do it. So the only place that you can get them is off of some person who has acquired them quasi-legally, or they've developed them themselves. So the only market that exists, you know, other than, you know, like the pharmaceutical companies that issue medication, is the black market.
Right.
So you're creating a black market by making it illegal. So the fact that it's banned is funding these gangs. It's funding these cartels.
Yep.
You know, if you legalize that money and you give it to people who have to take out a personal business loan to start a business to sell this product, and they get all their licenses and they get everything that they need, they open up their store, pay their taxes, and somebody goes in there and buys it from them. The person that does that doesn't have to worry about if it's you know, some other drug, or if it's going to kill them, you know, if they're going to get shot in the transaction, or if that person's going to offer them other drugs that might get ripped off, get robbed, hurt, beat, stabbed, just whatever. You don't have to worry about those things when the industry is semi-regulated. I believe in just a little bit of regulations, but the free market for itself will decide what the people want. You know, but when you start restricting certain markets, you know, you're teetering on the edge there. And there's obviously a demand for people to smoke weed. There's a demand for people to buy it. There's a demand for people for opiates. There's a demand for people to smoke meth. And I mean,
I say fuck it, man. I say legalize it all. See where the cards fall. I think and there's peer-reviewed studies on this as well that showed in tests where they've actually done that, where they've legalized everything. There's several cities, not here in the US.
I think Spain has legalized all drugs.
I think some places in Canada have done it as well. I could be incorrect.
I don't know about Canada. I do know Spain and not Sweden, but Switzerland maybe. Switzerland sounds like a place that would do that.
In the places that have done it, they've seen a pretty significant drop in usage. And honestly, man, I don't know. If it was all legal fucking tomorrow, right? If it was every bit of it, I might try to smoke pot, right? And that's a big maybe. I don't think I don't have any reason. I don't have any reason. And maybe for a lot of people, it's just because a lot of people got into it because fuck it, it's illegal. Let's fucking try. We're rebellious teenagers. You know, let's give it a shot. But for me, I'm an outgoing guy. I don't have anxiety. I don't have depression. I don't have any illness that marijuana would help or treat. The only benefit to it for me would just be get high. And if that's the only benefit, I don't really care about it.
Exactly.
It's like the only benefit of alcohol is getting drunk, and I fucking hate it most of the time.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it. You know, you can have people go out, and there's enough liquor in a liquor store to kill a small community.
Oh yeah, thousands.
You know, I mean, they're seriously, and you can buy as much as you want.
That's just
as much as you want.
Consumption. That's not counting DUIs and drunk drivers.
And here's the thing: if you were to legalize certain drugs like methamphetamine, you know, people would be drawn to it. Yeah. Okay, but those people are drawn to it regardless.
Right.
If meth was legal tomorrow, would you go out and buy it and try it? Nope. I wouldn't go out and buy it and try it. I know what the fuck it does to people.
Right.
Okay. And I know what bad drugs do to people as well. You know, at least if the person goes out and buys meth or whatever it is that they need to get through their 14-hour shift or whatever it is that they've got to do.
Fucking Adderall.
Yeah, Adderall or something. I mean,
Adderall
I'm not advocating using drugs in the workplace because it's terrible. But
I think even if they legalized everything tomorrow, you would still not be allowed to be high at work. And that
you shouldn't be.
So yeah, no, definitely not.
Especially depending on what you do.
I want to look it up. But I'm wanting to think that even in places that have legalized marijuana for recreational purposes as well, you know, California and Colorado, and I think
Washington.
Yeah, one place up north like New Hampshire, Connecticut, one of those.
Maryland, I think. No, not Maryland. It's Vermont, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those small ones right there.
Yeah, there's Northeast.
Anyway, so I think even in those places you can't come to work intoxicated. I mean, alcohol is legal, but you can't come to work drunk. Yeah. So.
And people that are gonna get drunk and come to work are gonna do that regardless.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing about it. It's just like you can't control the individual via the state. You know, the only thing that's going to control the individual is their morality or their spirituality.
The individual will control the individual.
Exactly. You know, and even then it's hard. It's hard for you to even get yourself out of bed in the mornings, you
Yeah.
know? It's
Very fucking hard.
It's very hard to tell yourself, "Oh man, you got to work out. Or you don't eat that pizza. You know it's bad for you, but you eat it anyways."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the thing about it is it's just the US has manufactured a black market which is fueling private and public prison, or sorry, just private prisons rather, which is kind of sick.
With very inhumane conditions.
Inhumane conditions indeed. I mean, it's
And that's weird for me to even say, because typically I'm along the lines of you reap what you sow, right? So if you
Right.
did something to get you in prison, even if it's a non-violent drug offense, right? So I'm very open-minded to new ideas and new political opinions and whatnot. But see, one half of me wants to think, okay, you go to prison, right? You get treated like a fucking piece of shit. You've got the worst living conditions. No food, whatever it may be, right?
the rehabilitation
That's fucked
process
up.
is not.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
effective.
But then the other half of me wants to think, okay, well, if you hadn't done anything illegal,
Right.
you wouldn't have ended up there.
Right.
But it's an overwhelming percentage of the people that go back to prison.
Yeah.
I think it's around
It,
half.
it shows definitely that our system of imprisoning people and locking them away is not working at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not working.
if you take a person who's done something wrong, and I want to make a point to say I'm excluding violent offenders, kidnaps, rapists,
Molesters, pedophiles.
those people should just be castrated. But I'm excluding those kinds of folks. But right, so if you take someone who, fucking Tom over here, got caught selling a gram of weed. And under our fucked up system, he went to prison for 2 years. I don't think that the thing for Tom would be to put him in an environment with more connections to the drug world, for one, and put him in a place with more bad influences on him. I don't think that would be the best solution for Tom. With that being said, I don't know what the best solution for Tom would be, other than knowing that there are repercussions for your actions, like going to prison. And I think that's I don't want to do anything bad because I don't want to go to fucking prison.
Right.
I like coming home every day, even if it means going to work every day.
Yeah.
I would rather go work and be broke as a motherfucker than go sell drugs on the corner and go to prison for it.
Right.
But not everybody's like that.
Well, some people aren't in the most ideal economical situation, you know. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those people just need education.
Right?
They just don't know any better. You know, a lot of those people are in urban cities where all they know is grab drugs or grab a gun.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. It doesn't matter your race. If you're trapped in that area, you're trapped in that area.
Yeah.
You know, you can get out of it. There's means to get out of it. You got to educate yourself. You got to add value to
You have to
yourself.
want to.
Yeah, you have to want to. And people in those cities do want to get out. They do. You know, overwhelmingly they
Chirac.
do. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to stay there. You know, I mean, people do, but what I'm saying is,
Oh, let's not fuck over Chicago real quick.
yeah,
For all the Chicago lovers out there.
but nobody wants
And
to be in a
places a
neighborhood
shithole.
where there's multiple homicides a week.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be there. You know, I mean, people might want to be there because,
Toughest gun laws in the United States.
yeah, right there in Chicago, and it obviously doesn't work.
Highest gun crime in the same city.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously doesn't work.
That's interesting in itself.
Yeah, they want to blame it on like the loopholes. What is it? The gun show loopholes. They want to blame it on. You know, they can go to Indiana and bring guns back, and like that's the problem.
No, you can't. You can. It
Yeah.
is illegal according to Chicago laws.
Yeah.
Well, Illinois law. And that's kind of I won't even go through Illinois. You can't go through Illinois open carrying as an out-of-state citizen. It's I don't know, man.
It's a Democratic stronghold, and you see how it's turned out. They're about to go bankrupt.
And I don't want to go too political on it. But
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely it is bankrupt. I haven't heard any update as to their plan on that. The last I heard, the pensions and the taxes didn't add up. They were in debt as far as everyone's cashing in their retirement, everyone's collecting their pensions, and there's not enough taxpayer dollars to cover it. One of the propositions I seen was that the surrounding 3 states absorb it, including Kentucky. Kentucky would get a piece. I don't know It's a good idea, and I don't know
But would
that
it solve even
I
solve
don't know
the
that it
issue
would
though?
work. Yeah, it would if they split it up according to population, I guess. If they split it up according to, um, say 45 or older, so that the state would have time to prepare and they would be aware of how many people are drawing pensions within the next coming years.
Right.
But the thing I kind of have an issue with, and maybe it's not the answer because I don't really know economics that well, but the government can give billions of dollars in bailouts to Wall Street, but we can't help out a state.
It's
It's a
weird.
fucking state.
Yeah.
It's Illinois.
Yeah, it's a whole
It's,
state.
it's literally a state.
Yeah.
We can bail out fucking corporate giants for billions of dollars.
Too big to fail.
Yeah, too big to fail. How about a fucking state?
How about Illinois? Don't
yeah,
you think they might be
state's pretty fucking big.
you might want to think about that.
Even a small scope of things, a state's pretty big.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I haven't heard any more about it. It's one of those things that kind of hit the news for like fucking 2 days and now it's gone.
Yeah, I just
And I
hope
don't
it
live in
gets
Illinois,
resolved.
so I don't really kind of
yeah.
care. I do in terms of if Kentucky has to absorb them. I hope we don't absorb Chicago. Fuck that.
We can't afford it.
But I would like to see our gun laws passed on to other states because I think Kentucky's got a good thing going with gun laws, and we won't go back to that subject.
Yeah.
But I think everybody fucking rolls their eyes.
Like guns
God
again.
fucking Kentucky boys. Yeah, no, but yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do about Illinois, and I don't know if they even have a fucking plan.
That would be crazy, dude. That would be absolutely crazy
Yeah.
because we've never really had something like that that I know of in my
And not in our lifetime.
No,
not in our
definitely,
lifetime.
definitely not. I mean,
Yeah.
bankruptcy state. California is looking pretty rough too.
Yeah, California is looking rough, and that's another Democratic stronghold.
It's-
They're saying that all the giants, like all the stars and all the businessmen and all those people are moving away from California, getting out of Silicon Valley.
Because
And
they're probably about to start taxing hard.
yeah, well, I don't know, man. I think it's a big sign of the coming economic changes and the current economic situation there. They're moving to places like Austin, Texas, which is a really big up and coming business area. But yeah, that's what I've been hearing. That they've been getting out of California.
I mean, I can't
That
blame
place
them.
is so fucked up.
Yeah, it's. I mean, every place has got their problems, but
You know?
I don't know, man. I see some of the things that happen in the universities and things that happen in their government. It's like, man, I just hope that it works out where people don't, lose too much.
Dude, what about? Do you think students should have the right to speech on campus,
Well,
college campus?
Yeah, 100%.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think they should have the right to violent speech on college campus?
Violent speech? You're gonna have to define that. for me.
Okay, so prime example. Forget which campus it was at, where they were trying to hold a national day without white.
It was either
students
Berkeley
without-
or
I think-
Evergreen.
I think it was Berkeley.
Berkeley
And this
or
one in
Evergreen.
particular, and it got pretty violent, man. And just like when Ben Shapiro tried to go to Berkeley and
yeah.
and give a speech there, he was told he could not go there because the students were gonna fucking riot. That's that's us. That's our generation. That's us. We are those people. We're not mentally those people, but age wise, we're a part of that.
Yeah.
That's our legacy as of right now. And I think every generation wants to leave an impression. Every generation wants to change something they feel is
We just
important.
talked about it earlier.
Yeah, but I don't think that the way to achieve that is by causing a large racial divide. That's not saying that we shouldn't address things that seem discriminatory or that seem racist.
Right. We definitely should. But we
Right.
should also be objective and truthful about it.
Exactly. We can't pin everything on race, and we can't divide ourselves further. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. That's really aggravating me. And I don't want to point fingers, but it's largely with the black community. That oh, so I had to swallow. Now there wasn't a dramatic pause there. No, it's just largely with the black community, man. And I think it's tragic to see it happening again. I feel as if when we were growing up, this wasn't a big issue. And it may be because we were young and we were naive and we haven't been exposed to it. But I feel like as now we've gotten out of high school, we're seeing a lot more of our black friends take a huge stance on things that I don't want to say seem little, but they seem very minute, which is a synonym for little, everyone. You know what I mean, though? Like, going through school, dude, I don't remember anyone having any problems with black people or black people having problems with white people or any of us having problems with fucking
We
any
live in the South.
If we had a fucking problem, it wasn't because of your fucking skin color. It was because you were talking shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it just seems like now we talk shit because of our skin color. And I'm not saying we, as in myself included, but our generation as a whole. Like, I'll scroll through my news feed and I'll see shit that's like, that's fucked up as far as regarding like black people, like some of the shit that happens with cops and black people, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
A lot of those situations are completely justified by the police. A lot of them.
Yeah.
There are some that are not justified
Right.
by the police. And a lot of them are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I can speak on almost everyone that says, as I'm a fucking white American male, right? So I'm the privileged motherfucker. And I can say with 100% certainty that if I'm out in public and I see a fucking 6'5", 300-pound black man, I am not any more scared of him than I am of a fucking white midget. But I think that the stigma is that we are supposed to be afraid, or that they have the perception that we are afraid and that we're going to treat them differently. And I think there's people out there like that. I mean, racism's
still
not
is.
dead.
No, of course not.
There's racist motherfuckers.
Go down to Ohio County real quick.
Yeah.
Just go down there.
So I'm not denying its existence. I'm just saying that I think it's localized.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a rampant, widespread fucking issue.
Right. There's not as a lot of people like to scream institutional racism all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like, if there is, we need to root it out and find it.
You need to find it fucking immediately.
But the problem is most people that shout that don't follow it up with anything.
And they don't know what they're talking about a lot of the times.
Well, they just stand on these shallow ideologies that say, there's institutional racism because there's not enough black people, or there's too many black people in prison. It's just like, is that it? I mean,
Well, it's statistically proven that black people commit more crimes,
well, yeah,
and that's a lot to do with upbringing and parents.
yeah. Well, it's got a lot to do with your economic factors. You got economic facters, social
Well,
factors,
there's,
cultural factors.
There's another. I keep addressing peer-reviewed studies, but there's another one that it's. I wish I could pull up on the fucking laptop, but there's an overwhelming percentage of black families that grow up without a father figure, and there's studies to correlate to that show your percentage to commit a felony is significantly higher. And I'm wanting to say 15-20% higher if you grew up without a dad.
Right.
So those two things hand in hand
Right.
back each other up
Right.
to why there's more black people in prison. It's not because of institutional racism. It's because it's literally just upbringing.
It's the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of disenfranchised people in urban cities,
Yeah.
and whether or not they happen to be black or white is purely by chance.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with, you have to understand, here's the thing. There's been a lot of policies put in place where people are treated equally. Like, you're not allowed to discriminate people on their race, religion,
Equal
sex,
opportunity.
equal opportunity. And there's so many of those acts. We know about them. We deal with them every single day.
Every day.
And the thing is, it's like, when people do want to say that, like, oh, the racism is institutionalized, they're keeping these people down. I'm like, you may be right, but we don't have an example. Like, we
We need to have somebody on. We need to have somebody on come talk with us about that.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Seriously.
like the other side, the other point of view. Because we're sitting here as two white men, right?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have been subjected to it at all.
Right.
Now,
We haven't.
I can say that the equal opportunity thing is a good thing and it's a bad thing, because while it prevents employer discrimination, it also enables employer discrimination. If that makes sense to you, it prohibits discrimination based on skin color so that they can hire minorities without the minorities being discriminated against. However, it enables it if you're white, because now they've got to have a certain amount of minorities. They have to in order to fall under equal opportunity. So if they've got a job opening and they need a minority to fill that spot, you're not going to get it if you're white.
Which
so
is
that in itself is
institutional racism.
Yeah, it's discrimination.
And that's handled, by the hiring committee. The hiring committee decides on that. What's extremely racist is placing a number on how many people you need to have diversity.
Have equal opportunity.
Right. Equal opportunity is
That's
different from there's a difference between equality of outcome and equality of opportunity.
Right.
Okay. Equality of outcome, that's socialism.
Yeah.
Why would you even want to do anything if everyone's outcome is equal?
To you. Fuck it.
Right.
Yeah.
The equal opportunity gives everybody an opportunity to get successful, to strive for something better.
Yeah.
Gives you the ability to, if you decide to do so. You don't have to. You can stay at the bottom. You can work a minimum wage job.
Somebody's got to make chicken nuggets.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody has to. And that doesn't make you any less of a contributing individual. You contribute just at a different rate.
If you're going punching that clock every day, you're as much contributing as anybody else.
Exactly. Those people are needed just as much as the innovators like Elon Musk and people who are on the cutting
Everybody
edge
can't be Elon Musk.
Yeah, everybody can't.
Yeah, somebody's got to. Somebody's got to flip burgers.
And to try and force that is the most racist, criminal thing that anyone could ever imagine. To try and force equality of outcome, that's saying, oh, well, we need this many of this minority and this many of this people in our workforce at all times. It's like, you're kind of segregating the people a little bit, saying, well, why do you need that? Because there are certain fields where the majority are women and the majority are men. I mean, think about it. Dangerous jobs like Alaskan crab fishing. Do you think there's very many women doing that?
Hardly any.
You think, what about laying?
It's like 99% in like hardworking blue collar jobs, like construction,
factory jobs,
carpentry. Well, a lot of women are in factories now.
Yeah, because
a lot of women are in factories.
It's much more different than it used to be.
Yeah, much different. And that started around World War II.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
But as far as the outside, get down and dirty, that's predominantly men.
Yeah,
predominantly.
Yeah. Why is that?
Mainly because one, women don't want to do it, and two, most of the time women are not able to do it. Prime example, Lacey, my wife, tried to get a job at a factory here in Owensboro. Mm-hmm. This was a while back. Like a couple years. Mm-hmm. But she tried to get a job there. One of the hiring requirements is you have to be able to lift 75 pounds above your head. Well, Lacey is 115 pounds, 5 foot nothing. Mm-hmm. She was not able to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's a physical requirement of that job. Mm-hmm. Not that she's a woman, she didn't get the job, but because she couldn't lift the weight.
Right.
So along those lines, if you have to do that to work at a factory, you're definitely going to have to be able to do that to lift bags of concrete or lift lumber.
Right. You want to pick people that are suited for the job and
best candidates for the job.
Yeah, I mean, look at care professions, predominantly women, like nurses, teaching, all that stuff. I mean, there's a reason why people, congregate to these sorts of professions and whatnot. Women are more emotional and they care more. They're more passionate and empathetic towards people. And, with men, you've got the genes that are more aggressive. I mean, just,
testosterone.
Testosterone, the chemical itself, it's,
literally its job.
Literally stronger, like genetically stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, but it doesn't mean you can't be a strong woman.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean you can't be a weak man.
There's a lot of women that could whip my ass, I'm sure of it.
100%. Yeah. I mean,
but in general speaking, I know what you're saying. Men are stronger than women. It's just a physical fact. And any feminist out there who just fucking flipped their lid, just look it up, man. It's literally a fact. So that's not to be even debated and really doesn't even deserve to be discussed because it's just what it is.
Yeah. But some people refuse to accept that.
I know, and that's not a bad thing. Like, we are two different fucking things, right? We're entirely different. We are born different. We think different. We are built different.
Everybody has different experiences, different cultural experiences,
well,
life
I'm
experiences.
discussing just men versus women, man.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, it's not a bad thing to be different. It is a bad thing to discriminate based on differences, but it's okay to accept the fact that you are different than a fucking man or a woman.
Yeah.
So I accept the fact that I will never have a vagina.
Right.
That's a simple, easy thing for me to grasp.
Right.
I mean, I could go get surgery. I'm not
But
going to, and it won't be naturally. That's not how I was born.
you still have an X and Y chromosome.
Right, exactly. Regardless, you can't change your genetics. So when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, men are stronger than women. Women are emotionally stronger than men. And I think in a lot of situations, men need women to fill the emotional weakness they have, and women need men to fill the physical weakness that they have.
That's how we developed over hundreds of thousands
Exactly.
of years.
And that's why we're different, and that's why we work. Right? I mean, that's why the two
And it's gonna
sexes
manifest-
need each other.
Yeah, they're going to manifest themselves in the world as far as the workplace as well.
Yeah.
Anything that we do, it's going to manifest.
Right.
You know.
The providers, the naturally providers are men. No, not. I already know somebody out there is fucking triggered as shit, so I'll just keep talking. I don't care. I don't want people to feel like we're in here fucking bashing women or feminism. I believe everyone should have equal rights
We've
across
already
the
stated that,
board.
right.
Yeah, fuck it. So, okay. So when you find predominantly women fields, right? So you're looking at the caring, nurturing fields, which makes sense because that's literally, again, their
It's a genetic
chemistry.
trait. It's a trait
Exactly.
found in
When you're
specifically
looking
women.
at the provider jobs, the engineering jobs, the building jobs, that's a predominant man's trade. So therefore, the construction makes sense that there would be mainly men in construction.
It's going to manifest itself in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, so and if you want to debate that, you're debating science. And
Hey, and if you're a fucking woman and you can come over here and fucking lift more than me, which I really, really bet you could.
yeah, there.
Go fucking for it. Go out there and get you a construction job. Don't let these statistics damper your fucking dreams.
Yeah, if
you do whatever the fuck you want. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying you can't do those things. We're saying we're just simply discussing the differences in men and women and why there are more men or women in particular fields.
Yep.